but we're going to go ahead and get started today with Docusign Templates. Got some people joining us from the waiting room. So just so you guys know, when you're working with Docusign Rooms, which is what we're working with KW, you always want to go to realestate.docusign.com. That is realestate.docusign.com. And you will see that will bring you into Docusign Rooms, right? So we're looking to go to Docusign Rooms. You can get there if you go to docusign.com. You just have to take an extra step. Let me actually be myself. So if you were to go in from docusign.com, you have to take the extra step of come on, internet, work with me. So if this is the screen you see when you log in, you want to come up to your profile picture in the upper right and switch to Rooms. But you can avoid taking this extra step by going to realestate.docusign.com instead. So that is what I actually have bookmarked for myself. So that's where we're going. And once we start a transaction in KW Command and connect it to our Docusign room, we can then go straight to realestate.docusign.com to get to that transaction. You do not have to go through Command to get there after that point. So once we log in, you're going to see that I'm on my dashboard. So any rooms that I've recently created or opened, we are going to see those here on the home screen. And the first step to get to our templates is going to be to go to My Docs. So again, we're in Docusign Rooms at realestate.docusign.com. And we're going to go into My Docs. And for anybody who does like printable material, I will go ahead and show you on my website. I have some downloadable resources here in the corner, and I will drop this link for you in the chat. In these downloadable resources, I have, where is it? No, I just saw it. Of course, I've lost it now. Hold on. Let me get to my home screen. Maybe I hadn't dropped it in there yet. Docusign Templates. Here we go. So if you want some printable materials, I have these set up for you guys right here, and it shows you all the steps to get here. So I'll go ahead and share this link in the chat if you want to have this to print out or save to your computer. Link is going into the chat so you can access it there. Okay. All right. So moving back, we've gone to realestate.docusign.com. We logged in, we were on our dashboard, and we have clicked on My Docs. And now we're going to click on Form Templates. Everybody can see my screen and hear me okay? Yes? Fantastic. Okay, so you can see that I've already started. Somebody have a question? We'll just do that. All right. So now that we are here, we have a Create Form Template button in the upper right-hand corner. We're going to click on that. And you should be very familiar with this box. We can leave it a Docusign Forms library, drop down the second box and access all of these other forms and the NCAR forms. So this is all of the forms. Okay. So if you do a lot of commercial, as the wonderful Wendy Taylor calls it, if you're a resi-mercial agent, you will need to get to commercial transaction forms. They will be here under the NCAR forms. But if you're just doing pretty standard residential transactions, you can pick Docusign Form Group from your top drop down. And you can drop down the second box. If you are in the Greensboro Market Center, you're going to see Buyer Packet Residential and Listing Packet Residential. If you're in KW Elite in Winston-Salem, you're going to see KWRE listing forms and KWRE buyer forms. So these little groups kind of break down the forms. Okay. So I'm going to pick listing first. And really what you can do is just set up one template. So again, you can set up one template, because if you set up the listing agreement maintains your name, your license number, your firm name, the firm's license number, the firm's address, your phone number, the firm's phone number. It has all of those fields already. So if you fill out the one listing agreement and then pull it into your transaction, those same fields are going to populate, for instance, the working with real estate agent, right? So I'll show you guys how that works. So we're going to take the exclusive right to sell listing agreement and click use. And that's going to open it up for us. Up here in the upper right-hand corner, say that you do a lot of listing of new construction or vacant land, or, you know, things that are different from just a standard resale, and you have different commission percentages or something like that. You can set up as many templates for the same document as you want. And if you want to rename that, you just click the little pin up here on the left, and that will allow you to rename this template. So if you have multiple of the same form, so I'm just going to say test for March 5th, right? And you could put, you know, new construction or something to that effect. We're going to click the little green checkbox. And now we have renamed this template. And so then pretty standard, we're going to go through and fill out the things that do not change very often. I also might choose to, I did not historically have a listing that was listed by somebody else. So 99% of the time, it was going to be the effective date is the date that the agreement was signed by both the seller and the firm. So I may want to go ahead and check that box for myself. I'm not going to know the expiration date or the property details, so I'm going to continue to move through this. Items leased and not owned, I may go ahead and put NA if this doesn't happen to me very often. And then if it does happen in a certain instance, then you can change it once you're in the room, right? But for myself, I didn't usually do a seller home warranty, so I can go ahead and check that. Usually conventional and FHA are there for me. And then my compensation is usually 6%. My magic number here is 60. Your magic number as an independent contractor can be whatever you want in that so many days after the expiration date protection period. Okay. I cooperate with buyer's agents at 3%. If you do some of these others, great, check them off for yourself. And I almost always can put signs, do open houses, advertise other than on the internet. I almost never do coming soon. And I do internet advertising especially. So I'm going to go ahead and check those for myself. Sellers are usually going to let me put a lockbox on. So I'm going to check that off as well. Flood hazard insurance, you know, that's going to depend on, let me check and make sure I've got everybody in from the waiting room. I don't want to miss anybody and leave them hanging out there. All right, so, you know, flood hazard insurance, that's going to be up to you guys whether you check that off. I didn't usually see it, so I might want to check these and then I could change it if necessary. But pretty straightforward. Didn't usually see a termite bond, so I could do that. Most of my sellers own for at least a year. I always give my disclosure samples. Let me go ahead and check those boxes for myself, right? And we're just going to continue through. Most of my people were not contemplating bankruptcy, and I didn't usually see private road maintenance agreements. So it's up to you guys how much you do or do not check. It will just save you time later. If you see a lot of these instances pop up, like if you work in an area, I know we have some people that aren't just in the Winston-Salem, Greensboro market centers here. If you work in an area where you see a lot of stucco or private roads or leased fuel tanks, you might not want to check off these boxes, right? But it's completely up to you what you check off. I always give question and answers on home inspections. Don't usually pre-inspect my homes. You may, then you would want to check the other box. I'm going to keep sliding through and get to the good stuff at the bottom where I can put in my brokerage.
Oh, God, damn. This day gets better and better and better.
There we go. And my firm license number. These things don't change for me. So I'm going to go ahead and fill them in. My office address. While I'm typing this, does anybody have any questions so far? Are we all feeling good? For those of you who joined us a little bit late, we went to realestate.docusign.com, which takes us directly to Docusign Rooms, as opposed to going to Docusign.com. We logged in and we're on our dashboard and clicked My Docs, and then clicked Templates, and then we clicked Create a Template. So if you need to add that to your notes, I also will repost in the chat the printable directions that I made, because for those of you that joined us after, you will not have seen that in the chat. So I'm going to repost that down here so you guys can get to it if you need. Okay. So now I have my listing agreement complete with everything that I would usually use on it that doesn't change for each transaction for myself personally. So I'm going to click Save and Close. And now you would go about your normal way of doing things. You would create your opportunity in Docusign. I'm just going to pick a random listing so that I can, we would just go straight through just like we always did. We'd go to our docs, we'd start our transaction, and it would take us into Docusign, right? So same stuff we usually do. I'm going to go ahead and open a listing room because that's what we were just doing. I'll open this one. I'm going to click on my documents. Of course, we would still do our details tab, fill in the names of our clients, their email address, that part, but we won't need to fill in our own stuff, but we will need to fill in the names of the clients if it didn't port over from command, which usually it's doing a pretty good job of doing that now. I always like to double check, right? Just to be on the safe side. So personal preference there. As much as I love technology, I don't always trust it. So we would just be in here in our documents. As per usual, we would add from Docusign Forms, and we would pick the forms that we need to add to the transaction and put them into the room. Okay. Now, once our forms were in the room, we would come over to our listing agreement here, right click it, apply the form template. Here's the one we just created for today. And I'm going to click apply. Now, when I open my listing agreement, you will see that all of the stuff that was in my template is now in here. My clients are populating from my details that ported over from command. My firm is in here. All of my little boxes that I had checked, my address pulled in from the details tab, right? And then I would just move my way through, fill out my form as per usual. My listing price came over from my details tab, and all my check boxes I did, like no home warranty, You'll see those are all there. My cooperate with buyer agents at 3% is there. My checkbox is here, here. So all of the things that I had done in my template are now in this form, as well as it is being populated from the details tab down here at the bottom. Everything is filled in. I'm going to save and close. For those of you that joined us a little bit later, really all you need to set up is your exclusive right to sell listing agreement and or your buyer agency agreement, because the fields that exist here also populated into my working with real estate agents document. You'll see when I open this up, right? It knew my name, license number, brokerage, clients populated from details, and my brokerage and agent info populated from my other template. Now, granted, if you're going to be sending off a lot of working with real estate agents prior to a listing agreement, if you're sending them off by themselves, then you may want to, in fact, set one up for yourself in my docs. So whichever's in first will populate the other documents as long as those fields exist. Does anybody have any questions about that? You guys are a quiet group this morning. Everybody must not have their coffee yet. I'm gonna start teaching at 11 so y'all can have an extra cup of coffee. But same thing, my docs form templates. You would do the same thing for your buyer agency agreement. Anything that you want to template out, you can do it here. If you do a lot of FHA, VA, if you do a lot of vacant land, commercial, whatever you want to do, you can create the form template. You can either pull it out of your groups or out of your library. So say that I decided I was going to start doing a lot of vacant land, you know, then I could pull up the vacant, if I could type the vacant land forms. Maybe. There we go. So there's some vacant land. I could pull all this stuff in and template it out if I so chose. We'll just pull a random form in. I know I have a lot of people that do vacant land. So you might want to have a template for the exclusive right to sell listing agreement on vacant land, right? And you would just go through, complete the same steps, and save it. And then anytime that you did a vacant land transaction, you could apply your template. Now keep in mind, come July, we're going to have our new set of forms in North Carolina. Don't know if I have some South Carolina folks joining us or not. I'm not sure when you guys forms recycle, but whenever your forms do recycle, you want to pull the new ones in and create new templates. Don't go using your old templates, okay? Make sure we stay compliant here. But you can see I'll open up this buyer agency agreement, and it's the same thing. And I know that I have some teams in here. I will go ahead and let you guys know each agent will need to have their own template set up in their own Docusign account. And where I showed you guys a few weeks ago that you can share the editing functions of the forms with your admin or whoever else needs access, you cannot share the templates. So if the admin is in their account and the agent has the template set up in their account, the admin cannot log in and apply that agent's template to the transaction. So that does not share. So I wanted to make sure that I let you guys know that. But exclusive buyer agency, same thing. Brokerage, these are the counties that I worked in most frequently. If at random I was going to be somewhere else, I could fill that in. You would do all the same stuff here. Fill in your days, all your stuff that doesn't change. Hit those check boxes so our broker and charges don't kill us, right? Got my percentages here. All the stuff that goes in that doesn't change. Save and close. And then you have that template set up so that you can be in your buyer transaction under documents. Your buyer agency is here. You right click, apply your form template. It's only going to pull up the one that works with that form. So you're not going to have to worry about seeing a big long list of forms. We'll click apply. And again, any fields that cross-populate, like the offer to purchase has my name, my company down towards the bottom. So I did not template this offer to purchase, but you will see it's still pulling my details and it's still pulling all this data from my buyer agency agreement, because my buyer agency agreement is templated and within the room. Okay. And so I will show you guys what I mean. So say that I pulled in this template, but these folks happen to want to buy right on the outskirts of Guilford County. Then I could just take this out and put Guilford. So it's still editable, right? It's not like you're pigeonholed into using what you put into the template. Okay. And then you just go through and transact like you normally would. Fill in the rest of your stuff, save and close, create your envelope, get your signatures, and make a bunch of money. Anybody have any questions, or does anybody want to see anything? This is not a super long class because there's not a lot to it. So I welcome you guys to ask me anything you want, whether it's in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask.
Monica,
Yes.
so you're saying whatever form you fill out first, let's say you do working with a real estate agent, it'll fill the permanent stuff like your office address and everything else into the other forms automatically?
Well, the working with real estate agents doesn't have your office address.
Right.
It only has your name as the broker and your license number.
So would that
The
transfer?
bigger forms, like the buyer agency, has your name, your license number, your brokerage name, your brokerage license number, your brokerage address, phone numbers, all that stuff, because it's got more details at the bottom. So
Mhm.
I would recommend you template that one out first.
Okay, but it
Right.
removes everything to the other forms that have the space.
It
for
will. If you pull in an exclusive buyer agency and a working with real estate agents, and then you right click apply your buyer agency, it's going to fill in this working with real estate agents because it has the same fields.
Perfect. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What else, guys? Anything? Nothing? You guys are all brilliant. You've got this down, I'm sure. Well, I'm here. I've got time blocked out. So if you guys have any questions, let me know.
I have a question, Monica.
Yes, ma'am.
It's actually related to Docusign, but not the templates.
Okay.
When I log into Samantha or David's accounts, they get a text alert, and I've went into individual accounts to try and change that notification, and there's no option there. Have you experienced anybody else having that issue?
A text alert to give a 6-digit code to allow you to log in. Is that what you're talking about?
No, that happened months ago, the authorization, and I was able to turn that off, but now they're just getting a text every time I log into their account. Like every time.
Let me see. That I have not heard of, and let's find out what that is.
And I'm getting the other, when I go into Lisa's account on Docusign, she has to give me the 6-digit code. How do I turn that off?
That you can turn off by clicking on her profile picture. You have to be back a step. So you have to be here. You're going to click on the picture, manage the profile.
Okay.
Upper right corner. That's going to bring you here. And you're going to go to privacy and security. It's going to make you re-log in. And so it may make you put that code in a handful of times. So I have to re-log in. I don't have to put the code in because I turned it off because it was annoying me. And 2-step verification right here. You're going to open that up. It's probably right here, Kristen. And you're going to turn this off.
Okay.
Right. And I mean, I get it. It's there for a reason. Right. It's there to protect us. And it's just, to me, a time waster. And so then you also have a device verification. So you have 2-step verification and device verification.
Maybe that's
And
what
so
it
you're
is.
also going to probably want to turn that one off, because what it's doing is it knows Lisa's logging in from her computer, then you log in from your computer. But Kristen, for you, honey, I think it's probably this two-step verification. Did you check?
No,
Not that?
yeah, no, I disabled that one a few months back. It must be the device one for me.
Okay,
I'll go in and see if I can find that. Thank you.
you're welcome.
And is that my profile under Docusign, or is that my profile that's under the whole command thing?
It's under Docusign. So you're
DocuSign.
here in Docusign Rooms,
Uh-huh.
and you go to your profile picture in the upper right, and
Okay.
then click Manage. And on that note, just remember that we can switch back and forth between the e-signature platform and Docusign Rooms. They're essentially two separate programs. They have two separate pieces of functionality. So for any of you that I have taught to do the in-person signatures, that gets started in Rooms and then completed in person in the e-signature platform. The mobile app on your phone is the e-signature platform. It is not Docusign Rooms. Okay, so they're two separate things. So I always like to make sure that I am letting people know that. I'm not a huge fan of using the e-signature on my phone in the app version. So what I usually do, because I'm working in Rooms on my computer and I would like to continue to work in Rooms on my phone and or tablet, is I just go to realestate.docusign.com on my web browser of whatever mobile device I'm on. But I mean, it does have its place if you want to get that into, doing in-person signatures and stuff like that. You can do it, but you have to do it in the e-signature platform, which looks like this, right? It says e-signature in the upper left corner versus Rooms, which is like this. I want to be able to show you guys side by side. Right, so Docusign Rooms versus Docusign e-signature, which is the classic version of Docusign. Okay. And if you ever do want to do those things, just remember, you can come to my website, kwtriadtech.com, and you can go to my YouTube channel right here where it says subscribe to my YouTube channel. And just click there. It will take you into my YouTube channel where there are playlists and videos. There's a Docusign playlist right there. And you can see all kinds of Docusign videos there. And plus KW, these are the Keller Williams Realty International how-to videos. Somebody asked me this the other day, so I'll touch on it really quick. If you click on this, how-to videos, I've already done the search. So you can see it's in the search bar, hashtag how-to video. And they have a whole library of how to do stuff. The search on KW Connect is not the most user-friendly, I'm not gonna lie. So that's why I went ahead and did hashtag how-to video there for you. Okay. Any questions? Anything you guys want to see, learn, do? Anything at all? Feeling good? Don't see anything. Ah, there's somebody in the waiting room. I missed him.
Thank you, Monica.
You're so welcome, you guys.
You're the bomb.
Thanks, Monica.
Thank you. This is recorded, so I'll get it put up on YouTube here in just a few minutes. Since you guys let me finish up early, I'll convert the video over and get it posted.
Thank you, Monica.
Thanks.
Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great day.
You have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.